So the theme is itself the supernatural element present. All right. Uh, Ruskin Bond, he had a, you know, it was his own belief that uh, though he does not believe in ghosts, he sees them all the time. All right. That is, he could did not believe that there are actual ghosts. All right. But he feels that there is something present, there is presence of some supernatural element that human has, humans a mental capacity has not yet able to comprehend it. All right. So he says the same theme, the same thought, he has applied it in the story over here, where Mr. Oliver does not believe in ghosts or any supernatural element, and therefore he's not nervous, and he comes back to his school every day through the pine forest. But he also encounters an incident where he, meets a ghost or sees a ghost and is then terrified. All right. So Ruskin Bond, he is using various techniques, scary techniques, to build fear and suspense in the mind of the readers. How he is being he's done this is by the words that he is using, the use of diction that has he has applied in the story. That is, while reading the story, I continuously made you mark the various things that were highlighting the fear, the suspense in the story. For example, when the gleam of the torch was flickering, the batteries were running down. All right. Then the sound, the eerie sound that was made by the pine trees. All right. All these words, they are going to create an atmosphere that is indicating that something evil, something terrible is going to happen, or some supernatural element is being involved. All right. So this tale is considered to be a macabre tale, where you have usually a frightening theme, or there is a possibility of another layer of life outside our material selves. All right. There is something present in addition to us human beings. That is the body, the materialistic body that we see. There is something else also present in addition to this mortal body. All right, there is a realm of life that is incomprehensible by human minds. All right. The story, in the end, you can see that the author has left you in confusion. He has left you in confusion. He wants the reader to think over the question that were these two, the boy and the watchman, were they actually ghosts who that Oliver encountered, or whether it was just a prank being played by some mischievous student, or whether it was his own imagination, that he was, the things that the fantasy or the fear that is present in our minds, was that just causing Mr. Oliver to imagine such things. All right, so it is left to the minds of the readers. The author has not made it clear. All right, you can say that Ruskin Bond has applied the same thing that is going on in his mind. That is, though he does not believe in ghosts, yet sometimes he says that he might have seen them, or he might have felt their presence. So similarly, Oliver also does not believe in ghosts, but now he feels that he must have seen the ghosts, or he has experienced a meeting with them. All right. So it has got various colors of, the story has got various hues of supernatural element. All right. And where we have different words that are highlighting the supernatural elements throughout the story that I have made you mark. So the theme of this story would be the supernatural element being involved in the story, and you are going to bring that out with the help of the words that highlight the supernatural theme in the story. All right. Then, if we talk about the setting of the story, the setting of the story is in the hill stations of Shimla, on the outskirts of the hill station of Shimla. That is 3 miles away from Shimla, the school is located. All right, it is given 3 miles away. So the school is located 3 miles away from Shimla, and the incident that is being narrated in the story takes place in the pine forest that is present nearby the school, that takes you to the Shimla Bazaar. All right. So Oliver walks down to the bazaar daily and then comes back through the pine forest back to school where he lives. And while returning from the bazaar, when he is walking through the pine forest, is itself the place where the whole thing happens. All right, where he meets the boy, the faceless boy. And when he starts running towards the school, again he meets the faceless watchman. All right, so he's not able to reach the school. So the whole thing that takes place, the incident that takes place, is in the pine forest itself. All right, so if you're being asked about the setting, you can tell that the story is set in the outskirts of Shimla, where their school is located 3 miles away from Shimla, and the incident of this whole supernatural element that has taken place, it has taken place in the pine forest. All right, so when you're writing the theme, you can take up these points, that these supernatural stories can be said to be Bond's attempt to find an outlet for one's loneliness. It is this loneliness and fear that leads a man to imagine presence of ghosts and other supernatural elements. And then this part, that is these such tales, they raise the possibility of another layer of life outside our material self, something of the soul free, the aura of a person that lingers on after the body is no more. That is, body has died, it is mortal, but soul, it lingers on, it continues to stay. And these stories, they bring out a person's loneliness. All right, when a person is feeling lonely, that concept is being highlighted over here. And according to Ruskin Bond, the loneliness and fear that is present in a man's mind, it leads man to imagine the presence of ghosts and supernatural elements. According to him, when you are very lonely, when you are afraid of certain things, it makes you feel, it makes you vulnerable actually. It makes you vulnerable and you start feeling the presence of supernatural elements. And then you can take up the last lines, that is, the story ends with a sense of ambiguity, making the reader ponder over the question whether they were ghosts that Oliver encountered or whether it was a prank played upon by a mischievous student. All right. So this is what you're going to give for the setting and for the theme. All right. Then in the setting itself, it is further explained. The setting of the story is being explained. That is where the incident takes place. The place has got an eerie atmosphere, that is a frightening atmosphere. First of all, it is very dark. It is night time. So the most important thing is there are no lights. It's dark. It's night. It's in the forest. Strong wind is blowing. All right. The pine trees are making weird, sad sounds, indicating that something evil is going to happen. So how is the setting of the story helping to bring out the supernatural element? That you can explain from here, that the setting is the setting is an as a frightening atmosphere. Why? Because it is night time, it is completely dark. It is the incident is taking place in a forest, middle of the forest. Then strong wind is blowing, then pine trees are making weird sounds, sad sounds, frightening sounds, and all of this indicates that something evil is going to happen. And even the battery of Oliver's torch were running down. So obviously a suspense grips the readers and makes them feel that something makes him apprehensive that something bad is going to happen. All right, and as we continue reading the story, we actually find that he encounters some ghosts, and therefore something evil is happening. He encounters a boy and then a watchman whose face have no features at all. All right, so and in the climax again we find that the story ends abruptly with wind blowing away out the lamp. The wind blew out the lamp now, and it just the story just ended abruptly, that it was completely dark, and the wind blew out the lamp out, and it must have been completely dark. We're not told that what happened to Oliver. Was he able to escape? Did he faint? What happened to him? We do not know anything. All right. So I made you underline this figure of a boy so that you can make use of this word when you explain your concept, when you are explaining that it might be possible that Mr. Oliver was imagining things. All right. By such words, you can say that by use of such words, Ruskin Bond is opening the doors of all the possibilities that might have been there. That is, Mr. Oliver, it is possible that Mr. Oliver might have just imagined the boy. That is, it was something else that resembled the figure of a boy, and he felt that a boy is sitting. Ruskin Bond chose not to refer to it directly as a boy, but he referred to it as figure of a boy. All right. So you can see continuously he is making use of words that are, opening up all the possibilities, and he is using words that are obviously helping him to bring out the supernatural theme in the story. All right. Then if we talk about the devices that are being used, figure of speech that is being used, so the you can go to the third paragraph, fourth line. uh, Flickering light fell on the figure of a boy. So there's a repetition of the word f, flickering, fell, figure. So you can say that alliteration is being used, or when in the last line it says that there was a strange soundless weeping. So a strange soundless can be referred to as alliteration. Again, on page 75 in the fourth line, you have silent sobbing. All right, silent sobbing. So again, you can say that use of alliteration has been made over here. All right, and there is a use of personification. Can you point it out? There is the personification being used in the story. You know personification.
The pine.
So yes, Vagisha.
And the pine tree.
Very good. The pine trees are making
And
sad.
the pine trees made
Yes, the pine trees are making sad, eerie sounds. So when they are making sound, therefore they are being personified. All right. And I told you when we were reading the story that Eton of the East would be considered a metaphor. All right. So these are the, then again you have imagery, very beautiful imagery when there is a visual imagery when it is explaining that it was dark, the torchlight was flickering, the torchlight fell on the figure of a boy. All right, all these are creating a visual imagery. And there is sound imagery as well when sad sounds or soundless weeping, all these are being referred. Then we are obviously uh, then obviously imagery is being involved. You have visual imagery when the author says that a lantern was swinging in the middle of the path. So you can visualize it in your mind that there is a dark path and the lantern is swinging in the middle of the path. So obviously imagery is used very well throughout the story from the beginning to the ending. uh, Imagery has been used very vividly in the story. All right. So we can say that this short story, on one level, can be read as a paranormal one. All right. Paranormal would mean that is something supernatural being involved. One with faceless boy and watchman as two ghostly figures haunting the protagonist, Mr. Oliver. So the story can be read that this is involving something paranormal, and two ghosts are actually present over there. That is the faceless boy, the faceless watchman, and they are haunting Mr. Oliver. The other possibility is that it can be read in a way that Oliver, being a bachelor, he is feeling lonely and he needs company, but all he get is faceless faces. All right, it might be possible that Oliver is looking for friends or family but is not able to find them. I told you yesterday also that am I referring that Oliver might have imagined this situation, this incident, because he must have felt lonely when and just now I told you that when a person is lonely and he is in fear, all right, loneliness and fear make people imagine various things or make them experience supernatural elements. So this Mr. Oliver also, he's a bachelor. He does not have a family. He's living over here in the school with boys, small boys that he is teaching, and he might not have got any friends and all, and therefore every evening when he must have felt lonely, he usually moves out of the school to change his mind, and he goes to the Shimla Bazaar, spend some time over there, and return after dark. So he must have felt lonely, and he wants to make friends. He wants to have a family, but he does not get any good friends. All he gets is faceless faces. That is, faces are present nearby him, all around him, but those faces are not uh, you know uh, means comforting to him, or they are not acquaintances. The faces that are present around him are not his acquaintances, and he is not able to get friendly with them. So the faces that he is encountering around him are all faceless, and therefore it might have been there might be a possibility that he actually encountered a boy and a watchman, but he could not see their faces because of the loneliness that was present inside him. All right, it might have been that the boys were playing a prank on him and he could not see their faces. Why? Because it was in his mind. The fear, the loneliness, it was present in his mind, and he was not able to see the features on their face, because every time he looks at a face around him, he finds the faces faceless. Finding the faceless would mean that he does not find a friendly face around him. All right, he's not able to find a friendly face around him. All right, so you can bring out these points uh, very well in the story. It is possible that out of his fear, anxiety, and loneliness, he might really be imagining some strange things. All right, obviously when you're seeing that his routine is to walk down to the Shimla Bazaar every day and return through the pine forest at night, he must be a bit troubled. All right, he must be in anxiety that he is trying to release when he is taking the walk down and then coming back, spending some time in the bazaar. He wants to take a break from the monotony of the school. All right, so it might be that due to his loneliness, due to his anxiety, he is imagining such strange things. All right, and you can say that it is ironical that Oliver gets to see the face in the dark, and when torchlight falls on the boy, he is rendered faceless. All right. He says that there is a boy present and he wants to look at his face, but in the dark it seems that it is a face of a boy. But when he points the torch, the light of the torch on the boy's face, he finds that it is faceless. So you can say that every time he's trying to approach someone, for friendliness, he feels that he might get a friend, but in the end he again finds that he's not getting any friendly response from the other side. All right, so he's very lonely and anxious. All right, are there any problems? This brings us to the end.
Ma'am, so finally,
If we talk about the title of the story, the title is obviously, you can say, apt for the story that is given over here, because the atmosphere, the scene that is set up is dark. It is late at night. It is in the forest, and the whole story revolves around the face. All right, the boy who's sitting in the forest, he had held his face in his hands, and Mr. Oliver is not able to look at it directly. But when he approached the boy, he felt in the dark that there's a boy, and the boy has hidden his face in his hands. And so he approaches the boy and he says that, show me your face, look up at me, tell me what is the trouble, why are you crying? So when the boy looks up at him, he finds that the boy is featureless or faceless. All right, the face of the boy is featureless. So he gets scared and he starts running. He bumps into a watchman. He tells the watchman that something very terrible has happened. There was a boy in the forest that whose face had no features at all. So the watchman lifts the lamp to his own face, and he finds that the watchman too does not have the features. So whatever the incident is happening, it is happening in the dark, and it is obviously revolving around the faces being faceless. All right, so this title, A Face in the Dark, is quite apt for this story. Why? Because it makes the reader ponder or think over upon the mysteries of human existence. All right, what are the mysteries that are involved in human existence? Why is it that these two people have been rendered faceless? What is the story trying to convey to us by means of faceless faces or featureless faces? All right, is it the possibility of another layer of life outside the material world? So is it trying to explore the theme of the supernatural, that is the realm of life that is present in addition to human life? Or is it just trying to explore human imagination, human mind, the loneliness and the psychological fears that are present in humans mind? You're going to make use of all these words: loneliness, psychological fear, all right, imagination, then possibility of another layer of life or another realm of life outside the material world. All right, all making use of all these words, you are going to explain that the title is very fit or apt for the story. All right, why? Because it is helping, it is making the reader think over of all the possibilities that these featureless faces, they make you available, or all the possibilities that can be present.